What's up everyone, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John. It's time for a review of the debut album Nothing Happens by the indie rock band Wallows. Wallows are a three-piece made up of three childhood friends who have played under several different monikers over the years. This would be Cole, Dylan, and Braeden, and now they've moved on to Wallows, a project that started in 2017 with the release of the single Pleaser. I fell in love with that track and the subsequent singles. In fact, their independent days were 4 for 4 in my opinion. They really went strong, and then they released the Spring EP in 2018, and I feel they faltered a bit there. The songs were a little bit less interesting. I honestly felt like I was watching paint dry in places. They started to sound more like the soundtrack to Urban Outfitters, less original and more in line with other different sounds that I wasn't as big of a fan of, so I was very concerned, I guess you could say, to see where the debut album Nothing Happens would land. There were some good signs leading up to the album. We got the cute little single Drunk on Halloween. That one was a treat to listen to. And also Are You Bored Yet?, the lead single from Nothing Happens. This is a track featuring ft.Clairo, and I do think the female vocals maybe didn't do as much as I hoped they would have, and it remains one of my least favorites on the album, but it's still not a bad song. It's just the fact that this album, its deep cuts, I suppose, go so much harder. They have a lot more to offer. The band did a nice job of merging directions of both old and new on their debut project. They gave a facelift to a few old songs that they released as the Narwhals, one of their old monikers, and also some tracks and sections that might sound familiar to the first few singles that we got from the band. There's horn sections that come in on Ice Cold Pool, for example, reminding me of the track Suntan, one of their early singles that I fucking love. And also, this album does such a great job at cohesion. It's something where you really don't feel the length of the album because it's constantly segueing into the next track perfectly. You really get suckered into playing the whole album because of how well they do pull off that song-to-song transition. It's not something that everyone can do, and it's clear that they went into this with the mindset of we're making an album, not a collection of singles. Dylan and Braeden definitely have their different styles when it comes to doing lead vocals, although at times it can be a bit confusing as to who's singing leads on which track. I feel that Dylan has a little bit of a deeper register, and Braeden, while perhaps at times deep, also goes a little bit higher and also is a bit more emotive with his punctuation, the way that he accents certain things, so those tracks honestly get me feeling a little bit more. But honestly, I do like Dylan. I think that he brings a lot to the table, and obviously there's a chemistry between these three because they've been working together for over a decade. It's a fun-sounding, lively album with a lot of engaging vocals, great guitars, a few nice little bass riffs that kick off a few of the tracks, some synthesizers, blending of horns. It's an eclectic but also focused record that takes influence from everyone from the Beatles to Beach House and more. The opening two cuts, Only Friend and Treacherous Doctor, are a lot of fun. We're led in with a slicing riff and some pumping bass on Only Friend, and then Treacherous Doctor honestly is so much fun to listen to. It's super engaging, and it does feel a little bit more angry in some senses, a little bit more confrontational and hostile, and once that instrumental break really hits you upside the head, it feels like it's cutting loose into experimental territory before reeling it back in, and I like that they're flexing these strengths early on. Honestly, two of my least favorite songs on the project were two of the pre-release singles. They come back to back, Sidelines and Are You Bored Yet, tracks 3 and 4. They are neither throwaways nor are they bad songs at all. I just feel that they're a bit more familiar, a bit more in line with what I was saying with my criticisms of the Spring EP. Once we get to cuts like What You Like, where I really feel like the band ramps up the energy, or Scrawny, which definitely sees the underdog fighting it out saying, I'm a scrawny motherfucker, tell me that even though I'm scrawny, I've still got a cool hairstyle. It's a fun song, and I love how jabby and punchy the guitars are. They feel jittery, the drums are nice, and I just love how everything just feels like it's highlighted. You can hear the vocals going up and down, and it matches with the guitar intensity. It's a really, really nice song that I didn't see coming. Worlds Apart is a very sweet song that really didn't hit me until I read along with the lyrics. It sees a narrator talking about how he's worlds apart from this ex, and it seems like he's laying in bed at night and describing his memories as like little movie trailers that play, and he's wondering if his old partner does the same thing, even though they're worlds apart. Maybe they're just in different stages of their life, and they still have all of these memories? Do you still come back to them, or have you hit erase? They reworked one of their old tunes that they had performed as the Narwhals with I'm Full coming in and really expanding their sonic palette in some ways. It reminds me of Treacherous Doctor and even Ice Cold Pool, which is very nice. I love the horns on that track, the vocals, the hook. Everything feels a bit subdued in places, but it also knows when to unleash. But on this track, I feel that they really pushed themselves to make something a little bit different because they go hard. Guitars, you hear horns, you hear keyboards really coming in and chiming hard at the end of this track. And I love the fact that songs like that, also Worlds Apart, it's carried out by an instrumental outro. They have an emphasis on music and not just lyrics, not just trying to draw people in with what they can say, it's also what they can play. I'll leave you with my thoughts on the closing moment, Do Not Wait. This is a piercing, cutting moment, which is emotional. It brings a lot of the psyche of the record to the surface. I feel like they're talking to someone here, or maybe to the masses, saying it can feel like there's those times in life when nothing happens. Like maybe we're just sitting in our room, we don't know what to do with ourselves, and they're in their 20s now. That's what a lot of this record is about, figuring stuff out. And I like the way that they reel you in with that emotional kind of first part, and the verses are really great, and then they have a big instrumental finale to really cap everything off. Wallows definitely delivered a lot more than I was expecting on their debut album, Nothing Happens. It's a step up from the spring EP, and I would say it's on par, but also different from their initial 4 singles. I would definitely give this a spin. A lot of great music coming out this week, March 22nd, 2019. American Football, Law Dispute, also very underrated, actually underrated and deserve your attention. Gotta give them a shout. I'll talk about them soon. But anyways, as far as this album, it's getting a strong 4 out of 5 from me, and definitely a recommendation. Go check it out for yourself. There's a link to stream down below, and please drop a like on this review. If you haven't done so already, then please subscribe to the channel for the love of music. We talk about it multiple times per week, every week on both of my channels. If you would like to see my thoughts on the spring EP, then tap right here, or tap here for another recent indie or alternative review. If you'd like to support the channel on Patreon, it's the top link down below, or the annotation in the corner, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.